Welcome to EasternSlopes.com's outdoor laboratory on a thoroughly rotten, wet, rainy, cold, windy, miserable day. As we show you the GoLite Eden 2 tent, how to set it up and why it's a fantastic tent for these conditions and arguably the best tent we're aware of for these conditions. My name's David Shedd, publisher and senior editor. You've seen me before probably on some of these things. If it's dumb, I do it. And this is dumb. I'm standing out in the rain freezing. My hands are cold. When it's miserable, rotten weather like this, one of the hardest things that there is to do is set your tent up. If you've got a single wall tent, you can get your tent set up and that's great, but it's pouring, you get inside it, it doesn't breathe well, and it can be, not the most fun experience, particularly if it's a warm rain. Cold rain, you don't get quite as clammy inside, but still do. Double wall tents, you've got two problems. As soon as you put up the basic tent, you've got mesh, it's raining and it's getting wet inside the tent, and then you have a rain fly, which you have to stick over the top of the whole thing. And when you try and put the rain fly over and it's windy, it doesn't go on easily, everything's getting wetter, it's more miserable. The goal is to, as quickly as possible, once you get set, get your tent up, get your stuff inside, and then you can start dealing with trying to figure out what you're going to cook, all the things about being out in the rain conditions. So, what GoLite has created with the Eden 2 is a tent that's a double wall tent that plays like a single wall tent. It sets up, the two are attached to each other, and when you set it, it just goes up and you have your tent up immediately. What I've done in advance, so that you don't have to watch the whole thing, is there are 3 sleeves with poles. So this tent is set up, it's not a freestanding. It's got 3 hoops, 2 smaller ones on the ends, 1 large one in the middle. And they're offset. When if you see the tent, it's offset so that typically you'd sleep 2 people, head to foot. Very roomy tent, good overhead height, very comfortable. So, having done that, and it took me a little less than 4 minutes to set this whole thing up to where it is right now, so it's a very quick setup. I put those together, and then you can either, if it's nice conditions, put a tent peg in, stake in, and then come back to it, or you can set up 2. And what I've done is, for me, it's about 4 paces, about 12 feet. So I put one here, and that's the first stake, and then just pace off. 1, 2, 3, 4. And obviously, without the tent in the middle, couldn't have to walk on it. Put the second one in. So we got those 2 set up, and this is how easy it is. At the ends of the Eden, at each end, there's a Mark 1, Mark 2 that hook over those pegs. Why? You can see this sticking out. I hook it over there so it's secure. Remember, you're doing this in rotten conditions. Go to the other side, grab hold of it. Same thing on the other side. Pull. Lift and pull. It's that easy. This tent obviously needs some more work, but it is fully dry, fully set up. I mean, if I wanted to, I could zip it open and throw stuff inside it. What I'm going to do now is just do some housekeeping. That's roughly where I want that. 1 tab to pull here. That. Same thing with these, get those roughly where I want them. And pull the tab here. And they're marked number 1 and number 2. Like I said, it's that simple. There. Now, particularly when it's windy, I highly recommend that you put more stakes in, but I've actually, hate to admit, I've spent nights with just 2 stakes in this tent. Of course, my weight and the weight of the umpteen pounds of gear that I put in it will hold it up. But you can see that tent is roughly 8.5 feet long. I don't have the measurements with me. And very wide and high roof line. And that's as dry as a bone inside. So if you've done this, you practice at home a couple times, 5, 6, 7 minutes from the time you take it out of your pack to the time it's fully set up and ready for you to just pop in. Decent sized vestibule areas. And you can see the offset door here, door over there. So there's a lot of room. And you've got your space to be nice and dry in here, nice and comfortable. I'm not going to worry about zipping that mesh up because, frankly, I don't think I have to worry about mosquitoes at 36 degrees today. That's it. GoLite Eden 2. Stay dry.